Hi, and welcome to the Trucking Scribe. Today I am working on the Master Hand Knitting program, level 1. So I've talked about needles and yarn. In this video, I'm going to be talking about casting on for the preliminary swatch. We're going to cast on, we're going to do a knit and a purl. And I'm going to stop there because the next video will be the dividing row, changing the needles, and the cast off. So I hope you enjoy the video. Thank you. Hi, and welcome back. Today I'm going to show you how to cast on. First, I'm going to go over a few little things real quick. I am working on hand knitting, Master Hand Knitting program, but that does not mean I know exactly how to do this. I am learning just like everybody else. So definitely go and check out other places, and Suzanne Bryan is a great place to find these techniques. She is a master hand knitter and actually about the first person that I learned to knit from. So I have two different yarns here, these two, and you can see they're a little bit different in circumference and color. If you watched the last video, we talked about the tags. So this is the name of the yarn company. This one came in like this. It has the washing instructions up here. Then over here, what we're looking for today, we're going to do a sample gauge. So right here, this is a sample that I've already knitted on this yarn, which is Peyton's. All of this is worsted weight 4 yarn. So here it shows you the grams, the meter, well, I'm not sure what the M is, 100% merino, so that's what this wool is. It's really, this one's the softest of all of them. Then for the needle sizes, you're looking at 4 to 6 millimeter. Now for me, I go with these top numbers on here, but if we were looking, here's the bottom numbers right here are millimeters down here on the bottom of this. That top number is the US number. So if we were looking for what recommended gauge of this yarn, and you can also go to the National Yarn Council, and I'll leave a link below, and I'll try and put a picture up so you can see it. They have recommendations also, but right here, 4 millimeter would start at a number 6, and then we're going up to 6 millimeters, so we'd go all the way from a 6 to a 10 is a possibility. And one of the reasons that is because people knit in different tensions, in different needles, in different styles. So I like to use this to measure mine. You see how it's not going in? Or over here, it's just going in way too much. But what I'm trying to do is figure out what size this needle is. And right there, it fits just perfect. So it'd be the first one, it fits perfect. Also, I don't know if you can see, this says Haya Sharp 7 US 5 millimeter H39. So if we look on here, the 7 is the number that this needle has, and then 4.5 millimeters is on here too. So that's what these are. I'm going to set this one to the side. What I'm going to work with right now, this is Cascade yarns, the Cascade 220. It is not superwash, it's just regular washed wool. And here, this band came off of the hank before I folded it up like that. And I'll show you, I'll do another video so you can see how I use the winder and all to do that. But this one is 100% Peruvian Highland wool, 100 grams, 3.5 ounces, 220 yards. So then here, what I'm looking for is going to be 18 to 20 stitches to 4 inches. So that's where we're kind of looking for our gauge. Then the needle size that they're recommending is 7 to an 8. So remember over here, this one has both. So the 7 right here, that's this top number right there. Then if you look right here in the parentheses, you got the 4.5, that's this number. And then the 8 and the 5. For the swatch for the hand knitting program, the starter swatch, you want to have 3 needles. And I have chosen the 7, 8, and 9 to be the size needles I'm going to work on. You do need a ruler. So I do have the 4-inch needles. That's the size that I prefer. Let me see if I can find one of the longer ones. Thought I had one. So this is a 5-inch needle. And let me just grab this one. So a 5-inch this way, 4-inch from here to here, and 5-inch from here to here. This extra inch bothers my hands up under here where I hold the needles. And I started with these. I mean, all the needles I had bought were the 5-inch. By mistake, I thought these were the same, but they weren't. I love this purple. It has pandas with it. So you get little panda stoppers. I'll have to find those. But when it came in, it was short. And I'm like, what? Well, because I was trying to find the right needles, and I don't know how many. I'll link the video below to what I did, the first video on knitting and my needles. But I said, well, let me try this. So I did. So I found out I like these short needles. So you can have double pointed needles. I don't have any right now. I have some somewhere. I don't know where they're at. They didn't work for me. But you have your cable right here. You need 2 knitting needles. These just twist off. So you can change the length of your cable. See, this one's much smaller. And then too, while I'm showing you this is one of the bigger needles. It's a size 9, so it goes in a larger set. And it's bigger on the cable. Look. So if you go to try to put this in there, it's not going to fit, just so you know. So for me to do this swatch, I'm needing 2 different sets of cables, 2 sizes, which is okay. Usually if you buy the bigger one, you'll have both sizes. I need 25 stitches. Yeah, we did talk all about the yarn. This is my Cascade yarn. This is just a regular dinner bowl. I have another a yarn knitting bowl, but it's got yarn in it right now. So I went and got this one. I do like this because it kind of keeps my yarn from running all over the place. Now you can go from the outside of your yarn. I like to go to the inside just because that's the way I was taught, and I'm just pulling it. One way to measure your yarn, because we're going to do a long tail cast on. So you can take and wrap this around. I'm going to leave a little bit of a tail. Just loosely wrap it around 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 2, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. So I need 25. I'm going to add maybe that much more, just as an added thing. But when you wrap it around your needle, you do wind up with this. There we go. So I'm going to use a piece that is about, let me see, about 24 inches of yarn for this one. So when I do the long tail cast on, I start with this, with one needle in my hand on the right side. I'm right-handed. Then I take my thread and I do it like this. So I wrap mine around my thumb and around that finger, and then I take these two and I catch it like this. So this here is under my other fingers. First, what I do is I make a loop like this, just crossed over, and I put it on here. And then, see how I've got my thread? So it goes around here, comes up to the needle, and it comes around that leg, or that finger. Y'all, I'm not sure how this works for crochet knitting yet on videos. So, again, I'm just going to take this, I'm going to twist one time to where it's got the loop. I'm going to come down here right by my thumb, and I'm going to pick up a loop. And I'm going to come over in between my finger, and I'm going to pick up that loop and come back through. Now, what I'm going to do is, see how I'm holding my finger right there? That's giving it enough room, enough slack. When we get ready to knit that first row, we will have the necessary yarn. So if you go on here and you start just real tight like this, see the difference between my first two, how loose they are, and those. So I just take my yarn and put my two fingers through the middle right here, bring it up. So I go thumb, pointer, under and in. And I like to try and space them about a finger's width, maybe not quite a finger's width, but see how I got my finger right in there? Just giving it some space. Because if you don't, you're going to have some tight stitches. And I know, because that's the way I started. When I started working with the hand knitting program, they have a basics class that you can sign up for. It's a correspondence class. And that really helped me learn a lot. You're able to do your knitting, do swatches, test swatches, and send it in. And they can hold on. They can actually look at this. So they got it in person still, like on camera, like you're looking at this now. And they can go in here and say, oh, well, you need to look at the drape and look at you may be getting 20 stitches to 4 inches on all three, but which ones it feels the best. And that was one thing that helped me on my tension too. So this is called a longtail cast on. And like I said, I've not taught knitting before, so this is something new for me teaching. You know, I teach junk journals and sewing and different stuff. So you just keep going. Let's see, we got 2, 4, 6, 12, 14, 16. So I got 18. So I need 6 more. 18. And I'm just taking my fingers again, putting it in between the thread, in, over, and out. So I go under the thumb, over the pointer, and back through the little loop that's there. And just pull it. And I use the edge of my finger to kind of get an idea. So let's see. And there are patterns where you cast on a couple of hundred, and that takes a while. 24, I need one more. Okay. So this little tail is okay just hanging out here by itself. So we've already put one knit stitch on here. So this side is the working yarn, or your working side. You can see the purl knit right there, a purl bump. If you turn it over here, this is going to be the first stitch, and it's going to be a knit stitch. So we'll start. Everybody holds their yarn differently. I hold mine like I did from crocheting. Okay, so I like to start with the knit not the knit. I like to start with the purl row first because this here has the pearls. So I'm just going to go in and purl these, and I do it kind of loosely, but my finger still is holding that. And somehow I've taught my finger, hey, this is the way you go. And this is the hardest one for me to get on. So that's why I'm going ahead and getting started. And I'm going to show you how to hold the yarn when I get back to the other side. But you just pull this out a little at a time. Your bowl kind of holds your yarn up. The purl stitches, you go in from the right to the left. Now I go this way. I go, take my finger and I run my yarn over the needle, and then I push it and I pull that down. So in, right to left, over the needle, push it down under it, and then pull it out. Let me see if I can do this to work. And I can already see some of my stitches are, I'm not used to sitting up at a camera knitting, so my tension's going to be off. So let me get to the end of this, and then we'll talk about these different stitches and all. And this first row may be wonky, mine it usually is. I'm just going in from the right to the left, over and down, and pulling that loop back. Okay, so when you get to the end, this is going to be kind of loose. Don't try not to make it bigger, but now you see here we've got purl bumps. You see, right here at the bottom, these are the purl bumps. This is where I started, and over here is the knit. So the purl are these little bumps right here. This is one purl right there. A knit is a V. So from where I'm sitting and where I'm counting, my V's would be right here. So like this, you look at it, how it goes, a V. That's one knit stitch. If you look down here, and this is what I was talking about, we did a purl the first row, so that was on the back side. You don't see it on the front, you just see all the knits. So for a knit stitch, what I do is I take my thread, and now for me, I've seen people wrap it around their fingers several times, around their pinky 3 or 4 times, maybe their bigger finger 3 or 4 times. This is too much for me. See, already you can tell. And this is just something you have to work at. See how it's just getting caught on my fingers? And this is the way that I did it to start with, because that's the way I saw everybody, well, not everybody, but a lot of people holding their thread. Some of them throwing, I think it's throwing in English style, go like that, and then off the needle. So you go in, you're holding this yarn in this hand. Some of them have it wrapped around their finger. Look, I lost my needle. So your needle goes in from the bottom, left to right to do a knit, and then over that needle and back in. Again, I can already tell my tension's off. But I did try this way, and there are a lot of people that knit like this, and they have perfect tension. So this is just something you're going to have to play with. And I would work on it for a couple of days at least before you try another one, because it takes time to figure out your tension and what works for you. So let's see. Some people just have it like this and wrap it around. This one I haven't practiced much. Let's see if I can do it. No, let's see, they just don't even, they don't even, they just wrap it and go. And they're fast, really fast. So that is English style. When I learned to crochet, my grandma told me, put the yarn over your pinky like that, and then run it over your pointer finger like that. So if you look, I have a little tension here and a little tension here, and then just it running across my skin. And you'll see me as I knit, reaching over and pulling it back out. So with this, you can see how it's just moving. I am not moving my fingers. It's just moving on my, and you can see the difference in how fast the yarn is going, but that's because this is my comfortable knitting position for holding the yarn. So for a knit, and I do this quite often, is pull this out like this and reset my yarn, because if it gets pulled out too far this way, I can't, without doing this, I'm not able to tighten it that way. So for a knit, you've got a stitch over, you got this part on this side, there's the finished stitch, the next stitch is over here. You're going to come in under that from left to right, bring up your needle, then wrap it like that and bring it in. So left to right on the bottom, wrap it around here. Sometimes I'll hold it with that finger. Sometimes I don't. Yeah, I do hold it with that finger. So one thing I'm doing is I'm doing this. So I have my yarn like this. So I'm going in the bottom, out the back, from front to back, left to right. This thread, this yarn is coming out right here, out to this finger. So go in, then I wrap it. And see, my finger is holding that, and it's also holding this on the needle, and that's how I get my tension and all better, because when I pull it off the needle, so right here, I don't know if you can see it, but my finger, as it comes off, it rolls a little bit to push that to the back. And that may not work for you. That may wind up giving you more stitches, more thread than you want. Like I said, this is just something that I've worked with and tried to keep working to make it better. So again, we got this loose stitch over here. That's something I got to figure out how to do, how to tighten up a little bit, but it's because there's a half a stitch over on this side. So we're back to the purls. So that means your yarn is on the front of your work. And I just grab my yarn again. This time I am taking my finger, I got that finger on the needle, so that's giving me some balance. This finger, I'm pulling the thread down and then put my needle in, back to front, right to left. I'm going to pull it over, and then see how that finger right there is got that holding it. Oh, I split the stitch. Let me try it again. So down to pull the yarn down out of the way so I can see. Around, see how it's wrapping around my finger? And back out. And this finger over here is still doing the same thing as it was on the knit stitch. So in from the back, through the front, right to left, take this, pull the yarn over your needle and under the other needle, and then this finger just kind of pulls it off. So see, right to left, back to front. I'm wrapping this around and just sliding it off. And this is frustrating. If you're new, it's going to take a while to figure out. There are different ways to do these stitches too. I just don't want to show you that way yet. I'll show you in the next video. So I just keep going, just like this, front to back. Try and be loose. Well, depending on your tension, because you may have a tighter tension but bigger needles. So wherever you work at, that it gets the results that you want. So you may be a tight knitter, you may be a loose knitter. I think I'm kind of more of a loose knitter. But that finger, both fingers have a job. This one is moving the yarn this way. It's sliding it off this yarn needle and holding it up here, so that kind of keeps my size. So again, just in, back, out the front, over the top of that needle, pull it under. So see how you're right here, but then you're going to slide that under right there. So, and then, like I said, when you get to the ends, be gentle because you can really stretch that out. One way to work on this is do your first knit stitch, then you do your second one. Then what I do is I just kind of gently, not hard, and I have to take my hands off. So I gently pull that, and that brings up that excess yarn in the other stitch. So again, my yarn is coming from the back this time because it's a knit stitch. My needle is going to go in this front leg right here. See how it's split a stitch. Let's see. See how it's going? There's a cross right here. So the working side's over here, and this one is where it's sliding off. So I got that in there. I'm going to wrap mine this way. Take this finger and hold it. Wrap it. Hold it. Come in. This is where I do put a little bit of a torque on it. And that's just me. See right here? I'm kind of twisting it. That gets my tension a little bit better, which I'm going to tell you now. Tension's not good on this sample because I'm just showing you, but see, and it took me a long time to get this down. So in, bring that out, put my finger on the thread, pull it off, and then I kind of roll it a little, not a lot, just a little, so watch. And there's a reason for that too. I'll show you when we get to the knit and purl ribbing. So definitely leave me some comments on how to teach this, what I can do to improve my teaching on it, because these are my first knitting videos. Let me know what you would like to see. I'm trying to start from a very beginner, and I'm trying to document my way through the Master Hand Knitting program. So I'm trying to, I'll probably be following the techniques in that program that I'm needing to work on. I am not sharing the instructions because they do have a charge for it. Really, it's not that much of a charge when you figure you're getting people sampling your work and all. I think it was $105, and November 2024 right now. But they take your work after you get it done, and they look at it and examine it and send it back to you if it needs fixing. They give you feedback. So just in shipping right there, that's like $15-20 these days. But the amount of feedback you get is absolutely wonderful. I love the back to basics, or I think it's basics. And then there's one that's taming, tension, taming. I liked both of those, and they are paid. They do have some scholarships if you're interested that you can get. And it's basically you're learning the techniques that you're doing for the master hand knitting program. But you have somebody that you can send it to before you get all those 18 swatches done, and then kind of find out your tension was off or whatever. And I did not look before I started this video to see what prices were on those classes, but I'll tell you, that is something to definitely go look at. And they do have a scholarship program, so you can sign up if you need to get some help with that. But it's really nice program. So see how I'm just going across, knit, purl. I can see right here I've got some bigger stitches. See how that's a little bit bigger than this one? And this is just because I've been talking to you guys. Then on this side, I can see a little gutter right there. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue doing my knit on this side, purl on the other side, and then I want to get up to 2.5 inches right here from right here to 2.5 inches. So if you look at this, it's approximately 2.5 inches from the bottom of the stitch to the end, and it rolls, and it's going to get a little bit longer. But you can see right here, 2.5 inches, and I'm not counting this middle one right there. So the first needle, you do 2.5 inches, the next one 2.5, 2.5. When you get here, we're going to purl, so I'll come back and show you that. So we're going to purl right here. So when you get to 2.5 inches from your needle, I will bring in another video to show this part. That way there's not so much, and you don't have to look through videos, through hours and hours of videos. So I will come back and we will look at the purling on the swatch stitch. So if you enjoyed this video, leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. Let me know what questions you might have. And if you haven't hit the subscribe button, hit the subscribe button to get all to follow along with me as I work on this project. Thank you, and have a great day.